We are in the midst of a language learning revolution. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Input English. In this episode, I'd like to discuss the changing landscape of language learning in 2024. Things are changing, and they are changing rapidly. We all know the traditional methods for learning language. That is, didactic sessions in school where the teacher gives a lecture to the class and talks about grammar and vocabulary, gives out homework assignments, there's a workbook, and there's a little bit of listening in a lab, some recordings. The teacher talks a little, but not too much. These traditional methods have failed students for decades, but have been the norm until the development of comprehensible input as an alternative. As comprehensible input has been recognized as a superior method for learning various languages, we have not seen corporations pumping out lots of content to satisfy the needs of the language learners. The language courses and apps that are available still tend to focus on the structure of the language rather than comprehensible input. We have all heard of, and most of us have used, Duolingo. So how do we factor Duolingo into this landscape? Duolingo doesn't really teach fluency, doesn't really give you a lot of input. It asks you for output. It asks you to put words in a certain order. So there's very little input. There are people who use Duolingo, but it's super common that people who do use Duolingo are disappointed because it doesn't allow them to understand spoken language, and it doesn't allow them to develop the ability to speak. It does teach them words. So is Duolingo worthless? Not exactly worthless. One of the challenges we all have learning a new language is if we are super beginners, we don't know anything. So it's very hard to get a grip on that language. It's hard to get a foothold. It's hard to understand anything. And if you don't know any words, then how could the input you're getting be comprehensible? So Duolingo has been used by people to get a foothold on the language so that comprehensible input was more comprehensible. This should become less and less necessary as super beginner content is made for the various languages. If someone tells me that they did a year of Duolingo and made no progress, and then did a year of comprehensible input and made a lot of progress, I nod and approve, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, they got something from Duolingo. It may not have taken them to a high level, but it may have made the comprehensible input more comprehensible. That is, they didn't start from zero with the comprehensible input. If you go online and search, and it doesn't matter where you search, you can search Google, Reddit, YouTube, doesn't matter. Comprehensible input is everywhere. YouTube channels are opening up with comprehensible input in their name or in their description for various languages. So you can find that. And then you can look at it and judge it. What's to judge? Well, is it really comprehensible input? Or is it just a description for a channel that's really talking about vocabulary and grammar? It's pretty easy to tell. Just watch a few videos. Are there a lot of videos? Are they making videos actively? Are they going to support the learning community? That's important. Are the stories interesting? Do they capture your imagination so that you can stop worrying about the language and go after the story? Because that's the way comprehensible input really works, is you need a story that is interesting and compelling so that your mind naturally goes after that story. And as it brings the story in, it brings the grammar and vocabulary with it. You get the structure of the language imported into your brain with the story. If the story is uninteresting, then you won't learn anything. On YouTube, language learning is different than other YouTube channels. With a lot of YouTube channels, there is an expectation that people will click through the content looking for the bits of information they need about a product or a method or a procedure. They're trying to learn something from this YouTube video, and a lot of creators will have timestamps below so that you can go to the section that applies to you. With comprehensible input, that doesn't serve the person watching the video very well. You don't learn much language if you just click through the video. There is no quick way to learn a language. If you're going to use comprehensible input, you really need to be in contact with that language over a period of time. In another video, I talk about counting hours, not years. So the ideal way to use any channel with comprehensible input is to pick out a topic you like and watch it, and ideally watch it to the very end. That way you are in contact with the language for a period of time. Your mind is fixated on the story, on the theme of the video, and then you automatically get the language imported. I made a discovery on YouTube because I try to pay attention to what's going on around me in the language learning community. As you know, this channel is called Input English. There's another channel called English Input, the reciprocal, English Input, Input English. These are two different channels. So I'm based in Northern California, and I put out a video pretty much every day. So English Input has been created by Jack in England, and he's doing the same thing in England. He's putting out videos in England. His channel is English Input. So there are a couple of ways to look at this. I could be immature and say, I don't want competition. This Jack fellow, he's competing with me. No, not at all. I looked at his videos. So what's the scoop with Jack's videos? Well, they're very, very good. He speaks super clearly. He's easy to understand. His videos are concise. They are really quite good. They also are different than my videos. Not different in a bad way, different in a complementary way. He does things in his videos that I don't do. And I do things in my videos that he doesn't do. So we actually turn out to be kind of a good team to help you get what you want. I have spoken with Jack. We had a great conversation. He's a smart guy. He's very focused on creating good content for the language learning community. He's committed. Jack and I plan on continuing in parallel making good content. I'm encouraging people to look at his channel. I don't want to drive people away. Rather, I want people to look at his content and realize it's actually quite good. People learning English with comprehensible input need a lot of good content. So I would go to his channel immediately. Like and subscribe. He has good content. Now, as you look at Jack's content, if you already speak some English and you look at his content and you think, well, you know, it's pretty easy. Oh, no, don't go there, because it's actually the easier content that is going to allow you to get more sophisticated in your understanding. His content is easy to understand, but it's very good for learning the language. So if you find it easy, enjoy it. Listen to the stories. Listen to what he is telling you. You will learn a lot of English from this fellow. Now, the reciprocal is true on my channel. If you look at my channel and you think, man, he's using a lot of big words and he's talking too fast. Well, it's possible that you're not ready for this content. It's possible. Or you could take advantage of a tool that is right in front of you, courtesy of YouTube, and that is you have the speed control. So you can go to the control symbol and go to playback speed and select 0.75. That will slow down my speech quite a lot, and it'll make it easier to understand. Now, I have done this on a lot of videos. When I transitioned to native content in Spanish, for months, I played some of that content at 3/4 speed, 0.75. And that allowed me to figure out what they were saying and use that content. That was native content. It was made by native speakers for native speakers. They had no intention that we would be using it for language learning, but it worked by the simple trick of turning the speed back by 25%. Now, when I watch the same channel, normal speed, no problem. What's going to happen over the next several years? Well, you will see more comprehensible input being created. The way I see it is comprehensible input is being crowdsourced. It's being created by individuals and small groups of people to create the input that you need. Now, some channels will be better than others. Some channels will grow faster than others. Some channels will be more interesting than others. This is where the YouTube system is going to help filter these, because channels that don't produce great content, channels that are not interesting, will not be rewarded with great growth, and they will tend to die off. If we are able to build a large enough collection of high quality, interesting content, then the marketplace, the popularity, will reward us. to where we can continue to grow. So what's going to occur on the Input English side of things? What are we going to do with this channel? Well, a couple of things are foreseeable. One, the domain name inputenglish.com is ours. And if you type inputenglish.com into a browser, you will get this channel because it's forwarded to this channel. Since we already have the domain name inputenglish.com, it is foreseeable that if the channel grows rapidly enough, that creating a website, a companion website, would be a good thing to do. We'll see how that goes. I expect to do interview video podcast type sessions where we have conversations between two different people. The resources to do that are readily available, and if people are interested, I would appreciate if you'd let me know. I've also considered making some longer videos for people who are looking for longer sessions in contact with the language. So far, I've kept things relatively short. We could create longer videos if the interest is there, if people want that sort of content. A lot of my inspiration on language learning has come from my experience using Dreaming Spanish and podcasts to develop my skills in Spanish. I don't want this channel to just be a knockoff of Dreaming Spanish and just copy everything they did, but I've learned a great deal from watching their videos and seeing how they approached various things. It's now August. There are 124 days left in 2024, and I can't foresee everything. However, I would expect that by the end of 2024, I should have about 180 videos for people to watch. 180, give or take. So to summarize, the landscape of language learning with comprehensible input is changing daily. Things will be very different in a relatively short few years. This is a great time to learn English. On this channel, you will see a video nearly every day. If you go over to Jack's channel, English Input, you will also get a video pretty much every day. You will also see other channels, and some will be better than others. And the ones that are interesting and compelling deserve your time, because the more time you are in contact with well-spoken English, the quicker you are going to learn this language. That's it for this episode. I invite comments, questions, remarks below in the comment section. That is very, very helpful to us. Of course, we ask people to like and subscribe. We want to build this channel. We want to build it into a successful platform, generating lots of content for the language learner. And I hope you join us in future videos. See you soon.